Okay, we're going to do our first Tosfot. We're on Daf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph. Tosfot is the word which means additions. It's the rabbis who lived after Rashi. They're Rishonim. They're known in the time period of the Rishonim. Rashi dies in 1105. And basically, the schools of these rabbis are basically in France, some in Germany, and some of the grandsons and students of Rashi are known as the Balei Tosfot. And they sometimes argue with Rashi, they want a clarification of Rashi, sometimes they bring us insights into the Gemara. So the printers, when they made the Tzuras Hadaf, the page that you look at in the Gemara, they put the Tosafot that they thought would be most helpful for us to understand, to elucidate the ideas that are found in the Gemara. So, generally speaking, it's always been customary to put them on the right side of the daf, right, or the right side from the inseam. So the Balei Tosfot are students of Rashi, grandchildren of Rashi, and the printer chose the ones that he thought would best elucidate the Gemara. So this Tosfos specifically is going to try to see what lessons can be applied from what we learned about interrupting during the Shema, what lessons can be applied in other areas of the davening. So we're going to see that in a moment. And also, finally, the end of Tosfos is going to teach us about Rabbeinu Tam, who was one of Rashi's grandsons, about one of his personal practices during davening. Here we go. Shoah Ufnei Hayira V'chulei. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, when we have the machloket between Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, and our Mishnah, halachic Rabbi Yehuda, we follow Rabbi Yehuda, the Omar, who taught, afilu be'emtza, when you're in the midst of a paragraph of Shema, or in the midst of a paragraph of the brachot of Shema, meishib nifnei hakavod, you may respond to someone in the category of respect. So now Tosos says, Im kain, therefore it must be, nireh, it appears, shemutar la'anos kaddish v'kedusha be'emtza kriyat Shema. It would appear from this lesson of Rabbi Yehuda, that it is permitted to answer the Kaddish and Kedusha if you're in the midst of one of the paragraphs of Shema. Why? Because the Ein Lacha B'fnei HaKavod Gadol Mizeh. Because there's no greater category of respect than answering Kedusha and Kaddish. Aval Be'emtza Yud Chet. But if you're in the middle of the 18, and that refers to Shmona Esrei, what if you're in the middle of Shmona Esrei? Asur. It would be prohibited to answer Kaddish and Kedusha when you're in the middle of Shmona Esrei. Demashma lekaiman beperek, that pei, bet pei is short for beperek, because we learned lekaiman further on in Perek Ein Omdim. We learned further on in the Gemara, in the Perek called Ein Omdim, that the Gemara says, the Bein Geula Litfila Ein Lanos, that when you're between the bracha to Hashem, go Al Yisrael, and the beginning of the Shmona Esrei, Ein La'anos, you're not allowed to answer for Kedusha and Kaddish. V'chol shkein, that's what this stands for, then certainly, v'chol shkein, then certainly, batfila be'emtza, when you're in the middle of the davening, certainly you're not allowed to interrupt for Kaddish and Kedusha. If I'm not allowed to do it between the end of the Shema and the beginning of Shemona Esrei, then certainly while I'm in the middle of Shemona Esrei, I'm not allowed to answer Kaddish and Kedusha. You're supposed to, basically, the halacha is to try to finish up the bracha and listen and to be yotze with the words, to fulfill your obligation with the words of the chazad when he's saying Kaddish, or the person who's saying the Kedusha, but not to answer. And then he says, Umi shemispalo levado. When a person is davening the midah alone, while everybody else is finished in the minyan, right? You're davening alone. The shliach tzibor, shin sadi, the shliach tzibor, and the chazan magia lemodim, and he comes to modim in the repetition. Yishche lemodim. He should bow. Yishche, he should bow for modim. Even though he's Milshmon Esrei, he should bow without saying the word modim. But avalo yomar modim vidavka shahaya be'emtza. It says, but lo yomar modim, you shouldn't say the word modim. And davka, this bowing, shahaya be'emtza bracha. That's when you're in the middle of the bracha. Avol besof ha-bracha, when you're at the end of the bracha, meaning you're davening, everybody else is finished, and you're at the end of the bracha, you're at, say, bracha number 6, and the chazan is saying modim, lo, you're not supposed to bow. Why? Because the nira kechorei b'shvil ha-bracha, it's going to look like you're adding, it looks like you're bowing for the bracha that you're in. Now, if you're in the 6th bracha, 7th bracha, 8th bracha, you're not supposed to be bowing. The only time that you're supposed to be bowing is at the first bracha and the bracha of modim at the end of modim, 4 times. And if you're going to bow in the middle of another bracha, at the end of another bracha, it looks like you're adding. Va'amrinan, and it was taught, the kaiman, ahead, daf, lamed dalet, amid aleph, te'el lechoreh b'chol brachot, you're not supposed to bow for all brachot during the Shemona Esrei, ela ba'osan shetiknu chachamim, only bow at the ones that were prescribed, shetiknu, that were prescribed, that were fixed by the chachamim. And again, that's the bracha of Magin Avraham and the bracha of Modim. And now I told you about Rashi's grandson, Rabbeinu Tam, and he's going to tell us something fascinating about Rabbeinu Tam. Rabbeinu Tam, hayiragil shahaya matin ba'usefele. Rabbeinu Tam would wait by the words of osefele, which is the end, towards the end of the brachos of Shema, before Shemona Esrei. He would stop, kidei la'anos kadesh ukedusha imash tzibor. He would wait to answer the Kaddish and the Kedusha of the Tzibor. Right? Meaning his davening probably would have taken so long, his Shemona Esrei would have taken so long, that he wouldn't have a chance to answer Kaddish Kedusha. And I guess he felt it so important to answer by himself, for himself, Kaddish and Kedusha. He would wait by the words Osefele, which you'll look at the brachos of Shema, you'll see it's right before the Shemona Esrei. Again, kedei, in order la'anos Kaddish Kedusha, to answer Kaddish Kedusha im hatzibor, with the tzibor. Now, there is a concept, v'haya salvar, and you might think afilu shaha kedei ligmor et hakol, and even though by waiting such a long time, because you imagine you have to wait for everybody to finish the Shemona Esrei, and then the chazan is then going to start to repeat the Shemona Esrei, right? By his waiting such a long time, he could actually have finished. Most people would be able to finish the whole Shemona Esrei for the time that he waited. Einu chozel l'rosh. He doesn't have to begin at the beginning. We have a concept. The concept in tefillah is, when you're making a bracha, when you're davening, that if you wait and stop, shahaya, you stop, and the time that you're waiting before you begin is enough time, the waiting time is enough time to actually finish the entire bracha. We generally have a rule that you have to go back and start the bracha over again. Apparently here, Rabbeinu Tam, even though he waited an enormous amount of time, seems, just to answer Kaddish Kedusha, he didn't have to go back, Chosel Rosh, to the beginning of the bracha. So what does that tell you about Rabbeinu Tam? What does it tell you about how long davening took in the minyan that he was with? And what does it tell you about the holiness of Kaddish and Kedusha? Now in Shachris of the Bracha Goal Yisrael before the Shemona Esrei, you see the word Osefela. He stops right over here at Osefela and waits for everybody to finish their davening, and he waits for the Shliach Tzibur. Imagine to say Kedusha. Fascinating. And the same thing, Osefela, is by Mariv. Let me show you. And here, in the bracha of Micha Mocha by Mariv, Osefela. He would wait there by Osefela. And then, of course, the end of the bracha is Goal Yisrael, and then Hashkivenu. So he would wait by Mariv and by Shachas by the words of Osefela. Fascinating.